Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we'll discuss UX laws. Let's get started. Master the core principles that shape exceptional user experiences. From Jacob's law to Fitz's law, explore the science behind effective design. Jacob's law states that users spend most of their time on other websites. Because of this, they expect your product to work the same way as the ones they already know. When interfaces follow familiar patterns, users don't need to think, they just know what to do. That's why common elements like shopping cart icons, hamburger menus, and clickable logos work so well. By using familiar design patterns, we reduce cognitive effort and help users learn the system faster. The key takeaway is simple: don't reinvent what users already understand. Fitz's law explains how long it takes a user to interact with an element. The time to reach a target depends on two things: the distance to the target and the size of the target. Simply put, larger and closer elements are faster and easier to use. That's why primary actions like proceed to checkout are designed as large, prominent buttons. On mobile, placing important actions near the thumb zone further reduces effort. The key takeaway is to make critical actions big, visible, and easy to reach. Hick's law explains how decision-making works in user interfaces. The more choices you present, the longer it takes for users to decide. As options increase in number and complexity, users feel overwhelmed and slow down. That's why platforms like Netflix limit visible categories on the homepage. It's also why Amazon uses one-click ordering and progressive disclosure in forms. The key takeaway is to simplify choices so users can decide faster and move forward with confidence. Miller's law explains the limits of human memory. On average, people can only hold 7 items, plus or minus 2, in their working memory at one time. When interfaces overload users with too much information, it increases confusion and errors. That's why good UX breaks content into smaller, digestible chunks. Examples include grouping phone numbers, using step-by-step checkout flows, and limiting menu items to essential options. The key takeaway is simple: reduce cognitive load by organizing information into manageable chunks. The law of proximity explains how users perceive relationships between elements. Objects that are placed close to each other are naturally seen as related. In user interfaces, spacing plays a critical role in clarity and usability. When form labels are placed near their inputs, users understand what information belongs together. Grouping related settings, actions, or content helps users scan faster and reduces cognitive effort. The key takeaway is simple: use spacing intentionally to create clear visual relationships. The von Restorff effect explains why certain elements stand out. When multiple similar items appear together, the one that looks different is more likely to be noticed and remembered. In UI design, this principle is often used to highlight important actions or information. A contrasting call to action button, a featured badge, or a highlighted pricing plan immediately draws the user's attention. The key takeaway: make critical elements visually distinctive so users notice what matters most. The law of similarity explains how users group elements visually. When items look alike in color, shape, or style, the human brain automatically perceives them as related or belonging together. In interface design, consistency is key. Buttons with the same color and style feel like they perform similar actions. Navigation icons with the same size and appearance are understood as part of one system, while error messages in red instantly signal a problem. The key takeaway: use consistent styling to clearly communicate relationships and improve usability. The Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule, states that for many outcomes, roughly 80% of results come from just 20% of the causes. In UX design, this means a small set of features delivers most of the user value. That's why products like Google focus on a simple search box, Spotify highlights the play button, and Instagram prioritizes the camera experience. The key takeaway: identify the critical 20% and design around what truly matters most. Users often perceive aesthetically pleasing designs as more usable, even if the functionality is the same. When an interface looks polished, modern, and thoughtfully designed, users are more forgiving of minor usability issues. They feel more confident, more comfortable, and more willing to engage. This is why products like Stripe's clean dashboards or Airbnb's photography-first layouts feel intuitive almost instantly. The beauty builds trust. The Zeigarnik Effect. People tend to remember unfinished or interrupted tasks better than completed ones. When users see that a process is in progress, but not yet complete, it creates a sense of anticipation and mental tension that keeps them engaged. That's why progress indicators are so powerful. During cab booking, a "searching for driver" screen reassures users that something is happening, while motivating them to wait until the task is finished. Key takeaway: use visible progress cues to sustain attention and encourage completion. The law of common region. Elements are naturally perceived as belonging together when they share a clearly defined space or boundary. When content is placed inside cards, boxes, or colored sections, users immediately understand that those elements are related, without needing labels or extra explanation. This is why card-based product layouts, boxed filters, and bordered form sections feel organized and easy to scan. The boundary itself communicates structure. Key take: users tend to remember the first and last items in a sequence more clearly than those in the middle. This means placement matters. Actions or information shown at the beginning or end of a list naturally receive more attention and are easier to recall. That's why important navigation items sit at the edges, and why primary actions, like save or submit, often appear at both the top and bottom of long forms. Key takeaway: place critical actions and information at the start and end of lists to maximize visibility and recall. The peak end rule. People tend to judge an experience not by its entirety, but by how they felt at its most intense moment, and at its end. In digital experiences, this means moments like successful checkouts, confirmation screens, and completion animations matter more than we often realize. A delightful success state or a satisfying final interaction leaves users with a positive lasting impression, increasing trust and the likelihood they'll return. Key takeaway: design peak moments and endings with care, because they define how the entire experience is remembered. That brings us to the end of this series on UX laws and psychological principles in design. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more UX and product design insights. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover next, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you for watching, and remember, I'm always here to help you design better experiences.